I think we are live now, and I believe I've turned on everyone's sound
Logo's
correctly.
going.
So,
Hey.
hey, it might take a second for everyone's cameras to actually pop into the stream viewer because I know that we have a lot going on in that regard. But welcome to Level 1 Adventuring, friends. It has been some time since we've gotten to quest together, and I am very excited that we are all rejoined, and the collective you is hopefully rejoined with us to watch today. I am your host and dungeon master, Wolf Scott, and you are joining us for the Shards of Chaos. Oh, which Kamani just popped out
Yeah, we just
screen.
lost Kamani.
Oh no! All right, well, we'll get Kamani back. I promise. Fingers crossed. But the Shards of Chaos, which are our 5th edition homebrewed campaign, influenced by some original scripting, which you'll probably see, but got some my own flavor on it. And let's see, we got Kamani popping back. I see. Just want to make sure that he pops back into. Yeah. Oh. Maybe.
Ooh. Meh.
Oh,
bye.
Kamani is currently under the blink spell. So once that filters out, then we should be all good. But yes, welcome to the show. What is Level 1 Adventuring? It is largely a tabletop RPG variety stream centering mostly on D&D every Wednesdays. Barring the past couple of months we had technical issues, we do a live stream of a campaign, and the rest of the days you'll see me doing some Dungeon Master stuff or some independent ttrpg projects to keep things flowing and going. But I would love to introduce you to the rest of my friends and party members. Oh, as one apparates back into the... Kamani, perfect timing, I think, almost. We'll see what happens here.
Oh.
Wow.
We'll get him.
Well, wait, I'll vamp a little bit more. What's the bit in the Sack Lunch Bunch where it's like vamp. That's what's happening right now. But I will vamp a little bit. Oh, pass us by, Joe. Joe has joined us. Our lovely boy Joe. We love to see it.
Joe.
Sorry, I just remembered the part you were talking about.
Yeah. No, it's so good. This is my favorite part.
Right before Jake Gyllenhaal's started.
Yeah.
Oh, I see ya. It's staying.
Hey!
Don't look at it directly in the eyes.
Yeah,
it might go away.
it'll know that you have fear in your heart. Okay, no, it looks like you are both here and you are in our stream box, which is what is important. Anyway, yes, Level 1 Adventuring. Follow us on all the things, the Twitter, the Discord. Hopefully it will be a play-by-post pace soon, and you'll get all of our updates on Twitter and Instagram as well. But anyway, as we were saying right before we were vamping, I would love for my friends and co-adventurers to introduce themselves to all of y'all. And I have this new piece of lovely art. I say new, but it's an oldie but a goodie. But it's the entire party now, which should all be now appearing on screen. You can see all of the adventurers assembled together for their travels. So now it'll be a lot easier for you for people to visualize who you are when you explain yourselves. So go ahead, take it away, gang.
Will you just call each person out?
Yeah. I think we should go left to right with the artwork.
I think I set it up purposefully that way.
Yeah, me too. That's what I'm waiting for to pull up now too.
It is
then
all right, Viola.
Oh.
Okay. Hi.
Okay.
I'm Sydney, and I play Viola Newmont. She is a cleric of the Tempest domain, and she is a sailor who is on a quest for her god.
Musadiela. I'm Kimani. I play Musadiela Assad. You're a suave and handsome pirate. Yeah, I keep it simple for now.
Well, that brings us to me, I think.
Yes.
I'm Garrett. I play Yellenburn of the Yarrenhall Burns, our tiefling wizard with a bit of a pyromania problem, but working his way into transmutation instead. We'll see how that goes.
Switching majors.
We love him for it.
And that leaves me. I'm Zach. I play Zorvarax Verduke, our dragonborn fighter. he's got a little to learn in the ways of regular intelligence, let's just say. But he has a knack for dungeon delving and a sense of honor that he is using for the right purposes. We'll say. I'll leave it at that as well.
Nice. And then I'll put us back in performance mode so things don't break. And that'll take us back to game time, which once again our cameras might take a second to populate, but we are all here, which is good.
We're here. We exist.
We exist. They do exist. Is that all? And so this will take us to, I believe, our recap. I don't have any big announcements, I don't think. Oh, except for the fact, this was an update we made like right before our stream started having some issues, but you can use your channel points for a variety of fun things now, including granting the party or individual members of the party inspiration for the journey ahead. So if you think they are going to need some
Hunger Games boons,
right? So yeah, if they catch themselves in a tight spot, or maybe you just want to, bolster their morale for the perilous journey ahead, you have the power, and I empower you to do it. But other than that,
that's freaking cute.
Isn't that cute?
I didn't know that. That's
wait,
cute.
yeah, people can spend their channel points now. It's super cute. And then I think that's it. So I think with that being said, we can begin the recap, if I'm not mistaken.
I do not believe you are.
Exactly. That's a smart thing to say to the DM, Zach. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. You're right on that one. When we last left our intrepid heroes, the band of adventurers who have joined together through somewhat happenstance and the shared goal of some coinage and traveling themselves closer to the center of our fair continent of Mira, which reminds me, I'm going to pull up my map of Mira, because even though I named the continent, I still very often forget all of the names. And so the party was traveling from Sunsteppe, a region in the south, towards the center of our fair land, to the city of Danareth, for their own various reasons. Everyone has a reason to hit sort of the metropolis, if you will, of this fictional continent. Sorry, I'm still trying to find Mira, but we'll worry about it in a second. They found themselves under the employ of a young upstart squire by the name of Percival Graham to help escort him across some dangerous frontier to deliver a mysterious package to his uncle, who belongs to a storied organization of knights itinerant known as the Valiants. The party had fended off some local threats, some savage gnoll tribes that were besieging the townsfolk, and even hunted them down to a sort of base of operations, a hovel they'd carved out for themselves in the wilderness. And they'd managed to defeat most of the pack, but their leader, a shaman by the name of Corpse Eater, managed to escape at the very last second. So they finally rallied themselves, got back on the road, and decided to head back towards their main objective, which is, of course, what does GM Intrusion do? Thank you for asking, Joe. GM Intrusions are for the solo campaign, which is another thing that you can watch here on Level 1 Adventuring. I'm running a solo run of the Numenera RPG from Monty Cook's Cypher System, and a big part of that game, how characters gain XP, is by having GMs intrude upon the game, but because I'm playing by myself, it's kind of hard to intrude upon myself without like certain checks and balances. So in the spirit of like here giving people the ability to grant inspiration, I give the audience the ability to intrude upon my narrative and cause me problems, but then I get XP, so it's like win-win. But anyway, Pass us by throwing lots of dogs and magic stabs in the chat, so we know that he agrees. Back on the road, the party had traveled for a few days until they their navigational whereabouts, their canny senses had sort of led them astray, and they had accidentally run themselves aground into some rough patches of terrain within this ravine along the hillsides of Sunsteppe. And as the party were hopping out of the wagon and trying to haul themselves out of this predicament that they had gotten themselves into, there were howls low in the distance through the tree line, and they looked up to see what appeared to be a hungry pack of wolves with their jaws gnashing and foaming. And a few seconds later, with some thunderous footfalls and a bellow, was an ogre clad in wild skins and furs, who announced. Actually, I don't think he announced himself yet, but Yoan, with some excellent knowledge of history of this land, clocked this particular cloaked ogre as Nuke the Houndmaster, who is a sort of noted figure who travels across Sunsteppe and preys upon travelers with his band of wolfhounds, which he's trained. And then a quick and bloody battle ensued. People were getting gnawed on by wolves. I believe Zorvarax climbed a hillside to fight Nuke, and then Nuke, like, baseball slugged him off of the hillside on top of the caravan.
I think I got a lick or two in myself.
You did, yeah. You got a slice, yeah.
But I definitely got wrecked.
But when the dust had eventually cleared, and there was much dust in Sunsteppe, the party had found themselves victorious, battered but victorious, and Percival actually claimed for himself his first sort of moment of heroism, in that he was sort of battling a wolf all by himself for like round after round, missing each other, until he finally had landed a true strike and had felled the beast. So sort of minting himself a bit in the eyes of his heroes.
I'm so proud of him.
I know, right? He's growing. He's growing as a person. Unguther has joined. He joined last stream when I was doing D&D character building. So thank you, Unguther, for joining and giving us some narrative flavor text for a chat. I love to see it. After the party had dressed their wounds and recollected themselves, they decided to, I believe, rest for the night. If I'm not mistaken. It's been like a couple months. And that stream, unfortunately, was one of the streams that was plagued by no audio when I had the recording back. So, you know.
Last rest I have is a short rest.
All right.
Not that I want to deprive us of a long one, but...
Then I agree. It was a short rest.
Or wait, you know what, actually? No, I did
mind
Arcane.
me.
I still have Arcane Recovery down, so it must have been a short.
Okay.
You know what? Actually, we also found everything we needed to win.
Yeah? roll me 100 investigation checks right now.
Will that give me an apparatus of quality?
Yeah. If you nat 20 all of them. So after their rest, the party there was a moment where I believe it was Nadara. So the rest of the party is actually not privy to this information, but for the audience's sake, because we, unfortunately, like I said, lost that stream due to audio issues, womp womp. There was a moment where Nadara had crept behind Percival as Percival was attending to all of the objects in the caravan to make sure that none were, damaged in the battle and being knocked around by Nuke the Houndmaster. And Nadara had snuck a peek at the large canvas object that Percival had been having the party cater around for him and deliver to his uncle. And what was revealed, it's still shrouded in mystery, if you will, but when it was actually able to be gazed upon, it did not look like a common variety store-bought lockbox, no sort of like common protective measures. It was crafted in sort of fine metals, almost like a silver liquid metal spherical casing with some strange symbols that were inscrawled across its surface. So it definitely had the makings and the tastings of something far more than mundane. But by the time Nadara had snuck that peek, Percival was finishing his business and turning around, and Nadara did not want to be seen. So quickly, with her roguelike skills, flitted out of sight. So for the audience's sake, the party is helping this package that they're delivering is something of great import, and now seems to have some sort of more than mundane origins. But we don't know much beyond that at the moment. And I think with that being said, and the party, I think, between last session and this session had advanced to level 2. So hey, look at that. You have a lot of... Look at this audience. You got so much game to watch. Level 2. You got so much game to watch.
A lot of logos we have to change.
Yeah, got a lot of branding we have to update. But that being said, because I think we had a short rest, and one of our party members our Suave Bard, just got a feature, I think, that helps on short rests for healing. So if anybody is missing any hit points that it might not have regenerated from the full long rest, I would say feel free to, like, go back in time and use the Song of Rest dice if you need it. But I understand if maybe you do not. Maybe you already spent all those dice. I don't know.
It was a
That's a
D4,
1d6.
right? Oh, D6?
D6.
Nice. I'm good otherwise. I'm fine.
I didn't play the last time, so I feel like the
So-
long rest
so
before
I'm
that,
great.
so I'm
Yeah,
still
all
fine.
Uh,
Violet's like, wow, sounds
I
like you
got
guys really
all
went through it. Violet said,
Wow,
I'm
y'all fought
fine.
an ogre? Damn.
That sucks for you. But with that being said, I think that takes care of our recap and kind of catching us all up where we were before. So in this moment, the party, most of the party has been helping to fix the wagon. That was the other thing we did too. The wagon was very badly damaged. We were unsure whether it was going to be able to procure itself across the rest of the journey. But the party, using their wits and their magics and their burly, strong, calloused hands, managed to put it back together. And now it should be running fine for the rest of the way. So that's kind of where we left the scene off. So is there any bit of business that we want to do between the repairing of the wagon and Nadar's quick little peek over into the holdings as Percival addresses the package?
Just to make clear, the ogre's dead and the wolves are dead.
Yes, all the wolves have been slain, the ogre has been slain, and Yoan has claimed for himself the shawl of wolf furs that was adorned across Nuke's back and has draped it over the wagon as a sort of means of saying, hey, if you know who Nuke the Houndmaster is, he's dead now. So hopefully that will send a message to any who may think otherwise about attacking your caravan on the roadside.
Sick.
But other than that, we have anything else?
Or
No?
I think so. Sorvrax is good to go.
So we'll say that Percy finally taking his leave out of the back of the caravan with a huge wash of relief. Whew! Well, that was harrowing. That absolutely almost claimed my life for the second time in a few days. That is a new record for me. It seems as though you all make quite a habit of that, don't you? As you see, he's like still beating sweat down the sides of his face.
Welcome
I'm
to the
gonna
life
clap
of
him
a
on the
warrior.
back.
Oh,
Yeah.
No.
We can do that
at the
simultaneously.
same time, yes.
He with Zorvarax's oversized clawed hand and Viola's admission of gusto, Percy nearly doubles over from Zorvarax's strength. Yes, I quite feel heroic. After that one, you hear something like popping in his shoulder as he straightens himself up all the way. Well, I do believe that I have had my fair share of Nuke's Ravine. My uncle is surely still waiting patiently for our arrival. Have we any business here, or should we catch the reins and set off?
I think we'd better get moving.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm down with that.
Mm-hmm.
Aye, well, let me tend to the horses swiftly, and we'll be on our way. Make sure you're packed. And sort of clambers up onto the side of the wagon, grabs the reins. The horse is a little shaken, but fortunately Nuke had not aimed at them for any particular attacks, was mostly focusing on the party. And so they are able to ferry you further. I keep forgetting I have two screens, so I have to use a different mouse, but hey, here we are. As we are preparing to set off on our journey, we do have some skill challenges, some rolls to help us get across our ranging prairie grass here. The region of Sunsteppe, for those of us who are newer to the stream, towards the southern center of the continent, bridging the waste, the sands of the waste of the south with the lush hillsides of the innermost areas of the continent. So we have sweeping hillsides, ranges of prairie grass, sort of cast in a constant autumnal gold and orange. is sort of where we're traveling through. Rocky outcroppings now and again. But let's see here. I have a skill challenge for overland travel. We had some roles assigned to the party beforehand to help us achieve this. I have our trail hands and guides as Zorvarax and Gray, and Zorvarax is here to man that post. I have Nadara and Viola as our scouts. So we have Viola holding up those reins. And then we have Yoan and Musa D, who are handling morale and quartermastery, keeping the party afloat as they travel across the countryside. So the party, and if you have a particular skill check in mind, let me know. Otherwise, I can announce which ones are applicable. But we'll need the trail hands and guides to make a check to help navigate the wilderness. We'll need the scouts to give me a check to make sure that there are no untoward threats looming nearby, or just any sort of, suspicious activity in the frontier. And then the quartermasters will do what they must do to keep everyone fed and prepared and in good spirits.
Can Quartermaster Yoan roll investigation to do a thorough inventory of this caravan?
Yes. Is there anything in particular that Yoan, Quartermaster Yoan, is looking for?
If we don't already have like a master list of like everything that we've got, like all resources, I'm gonna start that. If not, I'm just going. I gotta check.
Yeah,
The
absolutely.
manifest.
Yeah. Let me.
What are we missing exactly?
I need to know how it's sorted, how it's arranged. I need to know what is like Yoan's mental map when he is meticulously cataloging every bit of adventuring gear.
Well, very obviously, top of the list is going to be, your necessities, your food, your water, your there's some other bodily functions that you might need some supplies for. I don't need to go into those, in public.
No, not you.
But
no, you're
you're
a fancy boy.
Of course not. And then, of course, changes of clothes, perhaps a bar of soap here and there. Zorvarax. Nothing against.
I am quite smelly.
He admits it himself.
The scales, it's hard.
And so on down the list. Most important stuff to kind of least important.
So on and so forth. Okay.
But that's an 18 investigation.
18. We love to see it. And Musa D, since we had our quartermaster Yoan already start taking inventory of all of our caravan, what would you like to do to make sure the party is well equipped and in good spirits?
Can I just be annoying as hell to Yoan while he's doing that, and just over his shoulder, just numbers, moving items, just anything that's just annoying.
Yes, absolutely. I imagine. Uncougar says alphabetical order, a very good place to start. I feel like Musa D would almost be like singing every item after Yoan like writes it on the list.
Yeah.
Could you give us a little song?
Whoa. What are some of the items on the list?
Yeah, what are some of the items on the list, Yoan?
Rations, water, any alcohol we might have aboard. Let's see, what else does it? Ink, parchment.
Ink, parchment.
Additional weapons. I get the distinct feeling that you're mocking me, Musa D.
Yeah, because you are. Wait, so how did Yoan do in that battle? Because again, I wasn't there. Did he put in work?
Yoan actually, funnily enough, was in like a one-on-one standoff with a wolf for several rounds because they kept missing each other. Yoan kept erecting like a force field, and the wolf would miss, and then he would miss, and then another force field, and then he would miss. Eventually, though, Yoan did get the kill. Eventually, but
Okay.
it was a battle of attrition, let's say.
Yoan, what the hell were you doing with that damn dog, Claire?
Surviving, Musa D. And then he turns and nearly trips over something on the floor.
Nothing on the floor.
Yes.
Yeah. Musa D, I would love it if I could have a performance check to see how well you convert Yoan's very humdrum list into a a little ditty to keep everyone moving their feet.
A D20, yeah?
Yes.
And don't I have a modifier for that too?
You do, yes. It would be the little modifier after the performance skill.
5 to that bad boy. So I rolled a 12.
12 total?
Nice.
Yeah.
Got you. And then, all right, so we have Yoan and Musadi taking inventory and turning it into a bit of a song, much to Yoan's chagrin, as the party is setting off, getting ready to travel to Riverholm. Should mention that's where we're headed, is the east, right? I'm always so bad at compass roses. I always get them mixed up depending on how I face it.
It's the one on the right.
Right. So then it's not. It's the one on the left. It's the west, which is a land, saturated by tall mountains, constant storms, and it gives way to the gaping sea of Stone Coast. So that is Riverholm, headed in that direction. It's where apparently Theor is waiting with the rest of the Valiants and Perel Channel. So we have that. Viola, why don't we just go down the list? You are on our scouting duty. So why don't you tell me what you're doing and what you're rolling?
Yeah. So I'm not really equipped to be a scout. I'm going to be completely honest. I just filled in what everybody needed me. My perception's pretty high, so I'm going to go for that. So I'm just kind of like vibe checking around.
Yeah.
I'm sitting on top of the carriage and just vibe checking around us. And that's going to be a 17.
17. That seems like a pretty
also,
pretty
new
solid.
dice, y'all.
Oh,
Hey.
new dice. What makes these dice fancy?
They're heavy.
Yeah, we like
They're like
that.
actual. They're like made out of metal.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Solid.
Perfect.
They make a good thunk when you drop it.
That's how you know they work. If they don't thonk,
Mm-hmm.
if they don't thonk, take them back.
Bonk.
And then we'll say that you're sitting on top of the caravan. We'll say that Percival is there, of course, along with you, getting the reins on the horses ready to go. So narratively speaking, we don't really know much of what Viola was attending to during the fight with Nuke the Houndmaster. What do you imagine was happening with Viola in those moments?
I believe that what she went to do was she was going after our lead Knoll. She was going to try to track her.
Okay.
She was clearly unsuccessful, but she definitely wanted to give it a try because she promised them at the ale house that she would, or what was it called? The tavern? What tavern?
Onathi's
I don't remember.
Roadhouse. That is a name that
Texas
I did not
Roadhouse.
forget. Yeah.
At Texas Roadhouse,
Yeah.
she promised them that she would at least try, and so she wanted to make sure that she was giving it a good go. So that's what she went off to do.
I think upon your return and seeing your steely-eyed gaze watching the rest of the road ahead as you set off, I think there's a bit of Percy. You and Percy have had a couple of heart-to-hearts at this point about his sort of purpose with the Valiants and where he sort of stands with all of these things. And I think there's a bit of him who can probably see, your crestfallen, maybe a slight bit from not catching wind of Corpse Eater. He has his hands on his reins, his dark hair sort of beaded in sweat, slicked back. His glasses. Every couple of moments, he's like rubbing some dirt from the spectacles as it gets kicked up from the road. But he turns over his shoulder to face you at his back. Viola, I hope you don't mind the intrusion. You seem quite deep in thought, as per usual.
No worries. What's wrong? What's going on?
Well, I wanted to say that I know that I gave you a fair bit of scruff for wanting to run, quite literally, as we eventually saw, into the jaws of danger when it came to the Knolls. But I do believe that your cause is noble and your aims are, well, they're true of heart, and I just want you to know that no matter what happens with Corpse Eater, he says with no small bit of disdain, that what you have already done for the people of Sunsteppe, it is well, it is a great justice, and I hope that at least sits well in your heart, no matter what happens.
Thank you very much for saying that. It is my life's mission to make sure that I am providing for everyone that I come in contact with. So I very much appreciate your kind words. And I also want to let you know that I'm very proud of you. I heard what happened with the battle, and I know that it must have taken a lot for you to get to
I mean,
that
not
place.
that much. I mean, it was only a
Look at me
matter
in
of
my eyes
time.
and say it again.
It hurt. It hurt every fiber of my
I
being. It
know.
hurts to breathe.
And I'm gonna put my hand on his shoulder and tell him that I'm gonna say again, I'm very proud of you, and I'm also impressed that you didn't even use the spear that I gave you.
I think I threw it too hard and it got lost in the bushes, I think is what happened. But, you know,
We gotta practice somehow.
Yes, you know, the target practice every once in a while. Keep me limber.
Well, if you need help practicing at another time, you just let me know and I'll teach you how to throw.
I don't know if I need help, but if you have some pointers next time you see me do it,
Yeah.
you can tell me.
Okay. And I go ahead and grab another spear out and I hand it to him and I say, you just keep this till when you're ready.
He
Let me know.
he takes it with a. You can tell there's a little bit of like of sass behind his gaze, but then he still clutches it tightly to his chest like it is a valuable and precious object. Thank you. It will be put to well use as he slings it onto his back.
And then she's gonna just plop back down and start reading.
Excellent. 18, 17 so far. Also, the Uncouther asks, once again, how the GM intrusions work. Yes, he says, can I spawn monsters? Yes and no. So, the GM intrusions are actually for the solo campaign that I'm running of Numenera, which you actually literally can use to do things like spawn monsters or make terrible things bad happen to me. That is part of that mechanic. But for our game, for D&D, since we have a resident game master, the GM intrusions are not something to worry about. But you can worry about granting the party members inspiration with your channel points. You can do that either individually or for the whole dang gang. So keep your eyes peeled on that. And then finally, I think that brings us to Zorvarax, if I'm not mistaken.
Absolutely. What was my title again?
Zorvarax is like
I asked
watching
because
everybody.
I
He's
have a
like,
very
"What am I
different
doing?"
idea. I believe I'm like the
He's like, I love.
just
that
decided
Zor-
to know the name given what I have in mind. Go on.
I just love the idea that Zorvarax is trying to do like everybody else's job, and then sees that people are already doing those jobs, and he's like, "Wait, what am I doing again?" I love that. You are your title is Trailhand or Guide, so you're going to be helping.
Oh, good. Okay, great.
Guide the way.
As a guide, I'm
Mhm.
going to after seeing how well Percy handled the battle, Zorvarax has been nothing but a proud papa for this guy, right? As a knight in burgeoning honor and knighthood. So I'm going to intimidate this boy into leading us as stalwartly and precisely as possible. I'm going to give him now that I know he can handle battle, I'm going to give him the real tough love treatment. You know what I mean? He gives it because he loves kids.
I was just so sweet to him.
Yeah, I'm about to say, are you playing good cop,
I
bad
love
cop? Oh, by
does that count towards this check?
Of
Can
course.
I use intimidate?
Of course.
Huh?
What's that?
That's a 16.
A 16. Okay.
Yeah.
1 point of order of business before I move forward with that. The Uncouther has granted Viola some inspiration. Says Viola, since she's scouting and might get ambushed. We need it. We love it. So all right. So Thank you. So yeah, Viola and Percy just trade this heartfelt moment where she hands him a spear and they're like, "Yeah, I respect you. I see you." And then Zorvarax clambers up on the side of the reins.
He gives him
and what does he say and do?
You did good, boy. You're supposed to lead us. Lead on.
You
know the way. Don't second guess yourself. Go.
Well, I mean,
Stop thinking. Do it.
I do, but I'm paying. Okay,
I believe in you.
All right,
Get out of here.
I'm doing it.
Slap him on the bottom. It's a big hard spank.
It literally pops like 3 feet into the air. The whole caravan rattles for a moment. There was certainly no need for that, Zolvrax. And we're going.
Boy. Go on, and I brandished my sword.
Don't
and I start poking his back with it.
You hear as the horses begin wheeling into the wild golden yonder. So with an 18, a 17, and a 16, I say that the party is expertly navigating their way out of this ravine, this very rough patch of earth they've unfortunately found themselves in, and they manage to find themselves back onto some proper roads, which means they have a very straight shot towards their next destination.
After I see him doing a really good job along the way, I'll whisper, "Percival, I love you. You're doing great."
I'm just getting so many mixed messages. I feel from you all, but I'll try my best. Hi-ho Silver says on Cuther. Yes, accurate. Canonically, one of the horses is now named Silver. I'm writing it down in my notes. Perfect. Okay, so the party has found themselves onto the road. They're able to now travel without much issue back towards their original destination of Pearl Channel. Also, everyone, aside from the point of inspiration that Ankuha just granted you, give yourself point of inspiration. Everybody engaged with me and Percy, and I love to see those moments. So thank you, and enjoy. All right, so the party travels for a couple hours' time when Viola, being that you're in the scouting position, you see something on the side of the road. It is not quite, as we've talked about during the landscape of Sunsteppe. There are like sparse smatterings, collections of little groves of these autumnal trees, right, that sort of encapsulate the larger mounds in the hillsides. You can see a dark shape, which is sort of nestled right on the edge of the roadside, but not quite entirely enshrouded by the nearby woodlands. There's almost like a short foot trail of like well-worn dirt, which isn't like a properly paved road, that is heading towards the direction of this like very still, dark, tall, narrow shadow towards the side of the road.
I want to tell everybody, hey y'all, there's something over there.
Something, you say?
Something.
There's a shadow.
That is almost more descriptive.
You're welcome.
When you say a shadow, a shadow of a humanoid, a shadow of that shouldn't be there. What sort of shadow?
I'm sorry. I got distracted adding my inspiration on here. Can you help me?
No.
I was trying to add it on my head. It is the first time I've done it. I'm so sorry.
But Violet's like looking at her like her holy texts, just like staring into them so intently.
What?
Actually, well, since you pointed it out. Since you've pointed out to the group, why don't I get a group perception check? That way everybody can get a little.
Zervrax would just silently search out before he asks any questions. Perception, you said?
Perception.
That's a 15 for me.
15?
14.
14?
That's a 6.
A 6?
Yeah.
So we got a 14, a 16, Viola?
I got a 21 non-natural.
Oh, jeez, Pete. So between the three of you, Musadi, you're still strumming away. You're still singing your inventory song very happily, right into Yoan's ear, ad nauseum. But even between your dulcet tones, you managed to take a look over on the side of the road. What you see is not a person, but it is some form of inanimate object. It looks as though a tall stack of stones, about the height of a mortal, maybe a head taller, so in between like a medium to large size creature. The stones themselves, on various sides of their facets, like roughly carved into their sides, look to be like some sort of etchings or some sort of symbols. From your distance, it's kind of hard to tell exactly what they are. And there also appears to be almost like an old gnarled walking stick, which has been pounded into the earth right next to this cairn of stones, right? And also from this distance, you probably can't see the finer details, but hanging from this gnarled stick, which has been knocked into the root of the earth right next to the stones, is like a burlap sack. Oh, Big Killer Zoom, giving us Zom giving us a subscribe. Thank you so much. We love to see. Yeah, round of applause for you. We can see what appears to be like a burlap sack or a sort of a cloth bindle, which has been like propped up on this walking stick. And there is the faintest of light. You can't really see where it's emanating from your distance, because like I said, there is some light foliage that is surrounding the cairn. But there does seem to be a soft sort of amber glow, which is emanating from nearby this edifice, which has been erected in the dirt. I will give everyone also a free, since you've seen it, can you also give me a religion check?
Oh. I was going to ask if a history check would work, but religion is not good at it.
Listen, I should be better at religion than I am.
I would honestly take history as well, now that I'm thinking about it. I think either would be applicable.
Can I re-roll, or should I take the same roll that I just did?
You take the same roll, but use the modifier.
Okay, that's an 11 for me.
Okay.
With history.
That's
got
11 for
7.
me for history.
Oh, a 7, 11.
I got a 9.
A 9.
Oh boy.
And
We
then
have no fucking clue.
We have a mediocre knowledge of maybe what it's
those are some good rocks, you think? No, but much. Hey, Percival. He might not be much for slaying ogres, but he has read some books. So you can see the party is sort of struggling with trying to put this all together. But you see the wheels turning in Percy's head as he sort of narrows his eyes. Oh, well, by the divines, if it's not a road shrine to Caduex.
Cata what?
Do we know what that is? I mean, I've read the Discord. I know what that is. No one knows.
I'll take a slushy, says Uncouthor. Yes, I would say Viola, you would definitely know just by the you'd recognize the name by being a cleric. Yellen, I think you would know. You're a pretty well-read person.
I'm a smart boy.
You're a smart boy. Zorvarax, I think, nah, Zorvarax, you've been living in the mountains all by yourself for a while.
Maybe I saw his image somewhere, or whatever they are.
Yeah.
It is.
But also, Musa D, you're a particularly well-traveled individual, so this would probably also register to you. Caduex, right? In the great lore of Mira, right? There are sort of two tiers of gods, if you will, right? There are the risen divines and the fallen divines. Roughly, I won't get into... Read the Discord if you want to learn more about this, folks. But, roughly in all great sort of fantastical mythologies, there was a collapsing, a falling out between many divine powers, and some rose to, like, serve the greater good and mortal kind, and others fell to, like, serve their own dark purposes, right? So the difference between the risen and fallen divines. For example, Tetrios, who Viola's pledged to, is a risen divine. Bahamut, who Zorvarax honors, is not so much a fully risen divine, but kind of acts as their steward and their almost like I know this is like a weird analogy to make the Cerberus to their heavenly gate, if you will. He's like their guardian and knight. And also, I believe Yoan is pledged to Azrashar, goddess.
The Weave. He's pledged to the Weave.
Oh, the Weave.
Definitely not Azrashar.
Oh yes, definitely not Azrashar. Never mind.
Guys.
I thought fire. I'm making things up.
We can cut this in post, right?
You're definitely. That's not something I would ever
publicly is the key word.
Admit to.
Right. But yeah, there's a lot of risen divines, we'll say, and there's a few fallen divines. But Caduex occupies an interesting position in the cosmology in that they are sort of known as this the sort of rogue seventh divine. So where most of the gods either pledged themselves to the heavenly spheres or sort of went into the nether, right, into their own respective divine realms. Caduex, when all of this was going down, wanted to stay amongst mortals and live amongst them, learn from them, guide them in a more direct way. So Caduex is a god of many things, as the powers of the Mirren, like Pantheon or Myriad. But they are a god of traveling, of like hearth and revelry, of drink, of song, of story, of trickery, of pranks, of wiliness and cunning. So sort of like a benevolent trickster god, but occupies a very sort of neutral space in terms of the pantheon. You could argue that perhaps Caduex would cavort with some of the fallen divines if it meant, something could be gained for mortal kind. But mostly is held in wide regard well with most of the Mirren peoples. But because, I should say, why this is particularly interesting, this thing you found, because Caduex is sort of an offshoot divine, a sort of seventh odd one out, if you will, doesn't have a lot of formal temples in places or places of worship in towns and cities and large local centers. And instead, many sort of practitioners and worshippers will erect these sort of makeshift outdoors shrines, called road shrines, which Percy had pointed out, is a place where they can honor Caduex, where they can help each other. Oftentimes, road shrines are seen as a place where travelers and wanderers and vagabonds can come together and trade stories and trade supplies and aid each other with medicine or whatever is needed for the road ahead. So yeah, sort of a rare occurrence to see a road shrine.
Have we stopped by this shrine?
You've pointed it out, and we'll say that Percival has maybe slowed the cart to a steady roll, but has not fully slowed the wheel.
Yoan's gonna poke his head out to talk to Percival and just say, I think it might be a bit rude if we were to just cruise on by without paying a little respect, don't you think? Perhaps not so good for our luck.
Viola agrees vehemently.
You can see Percy mulling it over for a second, sort of chewing the bottom of his lip. We've already spent a great deal of time on other errands, but...
It won't be but a moment, just a quick offering, and then off we go.
It might be a trick, though, because he is the god of pranks. This might be a little tricksy trick.
Well, pranks. There's pranks and there's pranks. I'm sure it's at worst just a prank.
I mean,
at worst just a prank.
I'm gonna go ahead and cast Fog Cloud.
on what and or whom?
Well, it's a 20-foot radius around us.
Okay.
So that we are shrouded in it, so that we are not as easily tricked.
I love how Violet's like, it might be a trap. Smoke bomb. Immediately, Perseus, well, you're certainly prepared for any contingency, Violet.
See, you have to make sure that you are always on defense. It's how you don't die.
Viola, baby, but for a rock, for a statue, you're stopping and casting spells for a rock.
Yeah, I mean, no, it's a bunch of rocks, and it's a shrine, and it's a god. So, and it's a trickster god, so I'm thinking that it's better to be safe than dead.
I do like that
So
as a general
speaks
motto.
Tetrios.
Would this mist stop a trickster god?
Would a trick stop a trickster god? A question for the philosophers of
I
our
think
age.
Are we just blinding ourselves with a trickster god in our midst, and now
Are you
we're only blind?
In our midst or in our mist?
I hate
Hey!
Amidst all the puns, assuming
Wait, are you a
slowed to
trickster
stop.
god? That was too funny for you, Percival.
Wait a
Yoan's
second.
gonna open the door to the carriage and grope his way to the shrine
Okay.
in the heavy obscurement of this fog.
With some
Violet's
clattering
gonna
and
follow.
jingling. All right, yeah. Clattering and jingling of some hinges, Yoan and Viola shimmy their way out of the fog cloud and towards the roadside. Zorvrax, it looks like you're also
I'm
reaching.
keeping an arm on Percival. I'm saying, I'll keep you safe. I brandish my sword and I just kind of hold him with the other hand.
Yes, thoroughly in danger in this moment. Thank you. Musadi, where do you go? What do you do?
It's a rock, so I'm staying in the car.
Excellent. Viola and Yoan, you approach the road shrine tentatively. As you get closer, you can see that, as described, it's not something that is like expertly carved or stoneworked. It is not a. This is definitely something that is crafted by like more common folk or like peasantry to help guide the way. So it quite literally looks like a stack of like hefty but not particularly well constructed stones on top of each other. There is sort of maybe a almost mystifying or even metaphysical element to how they are stacked. You could say that perhaps their angles and their weight seem a little ill distributed, almost like they shouldn't be able to be stacked as well as they are, but in fact they do. And as you approach the shrine, you can see there, Viola in particular, because I do believe that you speak Celestial. You can see that the markings that are written on Celestial, well, there's actually a couple different markings. Some of them are etchings, which are actually in the stonework, once again carved with like common tools in Celestial, which seem to be sort of common blessings that I would say priesthood, but that they're not so quite well organized, of Caduex would say, fair weather and travels to you, may your boots always fall flat and true, things like of that nature. However, you can also see that there are, there's almost like little bits of like graffiti of like people like, Breck was here, like with a date, and like, traveling from Fort Almar to Danarath. You can see like all these sort of like this constellation, this network of people sort of saying where they've been and where they're going. And you can also see that sort of soft amber light that was emanating. There's actually one stone which has kind of been hollowed out at the top, so there's a circular sort of puncture in the rock face. And levitating there, as if by some unknown force, is just a ever so soft mote of light, just sort of like a gentle, almost like a candle flame. That is giving a slow eminence of clear sight to any who might need it, a beacon in the darkness for those who might need a place to rest.
So the first thing that Viola's going to do upon coming up to this shrine is I'm going to take out 2 candles from my priest pack and I'm going to light them. I'm going to set one on either side. I'm going to light some incense and I'm going to get on my knees in prayer.
Excellent. All right, we'll have that in the back of my mind. Yoan, you're also approaching the shrine. What do you do?
Yoan unslings his backpack from his back and sets it on the ground, pulls open the top and starts rummaging around to see what sort of things he might have in the way of offerings. And it takes him a minute. No, I can't leave the pen, not the parchment. Certainly not the scroll of pedigree. Goodness. But then he comes up with 2 little artifacts, if you will, of our recent adventures. He's going to take one of the 2 carved stone faces that we got from Nuke, that Nuke himself carved. He's going to keep one. He's going to set the other at the base of this shrine. And he's going to take one of the 22 knoll claws that we've collected, and he's going to gently rest that at the base of the shrine as well. And to the shrine itself say, a few good stories for you, old chap.
Aw. Any particular thoughts racing through your mind, or any particular prayers that you want to give Viola as you are in contemplation?
I am going to. My prayers are going to be surrounded around our travel, basically keeping our travel safe and preventing us and helping us stay away from different pranks and tricks of the forest, if you will. Basically, just imbuing the god with what he does best and letting him know that not everyone can have everything can't be the best of everything, and everyone has their own focus. And that is the most beautiful thing about us having so many gods, is that everyone has their own focus and their own way around, and just showing my respect and paying that to.
Excellent. I would say, can both of you give me a religion check, and you can give me that with advantage since you both had offerings to give.
17.
21 from Yoan.
21?
Oh, I'm sorry, 19.
Yeah.
What does this die say?
It says 19, 21, 20. So you gotta call it in the middle.
It's 19.
19.
It was 16 plus 3.
Oh, nice. Math. I have my moments too. You offer...
It's a faded die. That's the problem.
That's...
16 looks like an 18.
It's not user error, he says. Offering your stories and your prayers to this road shrine to Catuex, you fall into a moment of contemplation and silence between the two of you. If there were any wanderers on this road, this evening, to see this holy priestess of Tetrios and this fanciful, devil-blooded boy praying before the shrine would certainly have their eyes full for something mystifying. But for the moment, you two are alone, and you're just sharing this soft and quiet and tender few precious breaths of silence. Sort of falls over the area, and then there is a subtle, there's a pulse of light from the orange mote that flickers atop of the stone cairn, and for a moment the area is flooded with a slightly higher intensity of visibility, that strange orange light, and you can almost swear that there is a soft a wind sort of blows by, and you hear a sort of a soft giggle on the wind, and as it sort of blows by you and tussles your hair, something in the bindle begins to stir.
What is the bindle? What does bindle mean?
It's like the satchel that has been rested on the crook of the walking stick nearby.
It begins to stir.
Yeah, just rummaging around. Oh, Kamani,
Yoan takes a step back.
You're on mute, but I see that you have feelings about this. He said, "Yeah, nothing."
So I want to listen. I want to see what I hear. What do I roll for that?
Perception. You can be perception.
Wolf dog.
I am gonna. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'm just gonna back up a little bit, but I'm gonna just listen, lean in.
The blue person not here to laugh at all was just still in the car.
It was just Viola and Yoan, since they're at the shrine.
That was an 18.
An 18. There's sort of the sound of, there's obviously canvas which is being shifted around. You can also hear, it's almost like the bag is filled with a bunch of odds and ends. You can hear bits of tin scraping together, maybe a ceramic bopping against each other, maybe even little plinks of glass. It almost sounds like there's some little critter which is wriggling its way in in the sack.
Yoan's gonna take a step back, brandish his wand, and actually, does he need his wand for this? It's a class or a race feature, so I'm trying to remember.
Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah. So he brandishes his wand, gives a little flick and a quick little arcane blurb, and summons a mage hand, which takes the form, as always, of a red hand with long, sharp black claws.
Very normal.
Every time. I don't mean to. Please, just looks to Violet. Just disregard the aesthetic. It's not.
I know.
And the hand. He's not gonna do anything with it yet, but it's at the ready to like open the pack if he has to, or whatever it needs to do.
I'm pretty good with animals, so if it's an animal in there, I think we'll be all right. I don't have like a mage hand type deal to do anything remotely, if you will. But I can get involved. I mean, if you think that if I could like pop it out, what do you think? Should we free this thing? Like, or should we leave it alone? I mean, I know I was the one that was talking about pranks, but now I feel like something's in danger. I need to save it.
As we're talking over this, does anything about the bindle change, or is it still just wriggling?
It's wriggling. It's jiggling. You can see the actual gnarled walking stick kind of sways from left to right as in the dirt as whatever is moving back and forth.
Okay, so what if I touch the bag and I cast light on it? Can we see a shadow of what's inside?
Interesting. I mean, I'll give you an Arcana check to see if that's a permutation of the spell that you could do here.
Yeah.
Because I think normally you would just light the bag up itself.
Yeah, I just lit the bag up. I tried it though.
So, but to clarify, you have to touch the bag to turn it on?
I do, yeah. I do touch the bag.
Yeah, I do touch the bag.
But I touch it like Finding Nemo, like.
You gingerly approach Viola, the tip of your finger glowing with a golden mote of holy light as you're about to imbue it upon this bag. And as you gently boop the burlap and get ready to jump back, the entirety of the front of this burlap sack, almost as if it has a mind of its own, pulls open and whips around, staring right at you. And there is, of course, nothing that you can see in there but an endless black hole of void. And there is a deafening screech, a that like echoes throughout the countryside as a wave of snakes bursts out of the satchel and just begin to batter the front of your armor, sliding down you and sort of down your limbs. Give me a wisdom saving throw.
Oh my god. I hope what I think this is what it is.
That's gonna be. Oh wait, for a saving throw. 21.
Viola, there's a moment where you like grab the snakes and there's a fear grips your mind as you try to peel them off. You can hear them hissing and there's this shriek echoing from the bag. And you're slamming them to the ground. A moment later, you look and you have nothing but handfuls of streamers and colorful confetti. And Yoan is watching you battle through all of this. You got pranked. However, as you both watch this weird display happen, the god of pranks blessing you, there is another sort of another blow of wind which echoes throughout the roadside as something in your heart stirs. Both of you feel strangely emboldened for the journey ahead. Viola and Yoan, you are now gifted with the Charm of the Traveler.
What's that do?
It is a...
Yeah, tell me more.
Tell me more. It is a minor divine blessing, which you can carry for you for a short time. When you activate this charm, you can choose to either cast the spells, you have 3 to choose from, Leoman's Tiny Hut, Phantom Steed, or Water Walk. And after you activate one of these charms, then the blessing fades from you.
Is there a duration on that?
Nope. It just hangs out until you burn it.
You said Layman's Tiny Hut, Phantom Speed, and what's the last one?
Phantom Steed and Water Walk. And I will also make the addendum that for as long as you hold on to the charm, at random and inopportune moments, you randomly find colorful streamers in bits of your clothing where they should not be.
I love that.
Yes.
Well, let's hope we're not trying to infiltrate anywhere and we can leave a trail of streamers.
Just streamers. But with that, after you've made your songs and your blessings and your paid your respects to Caduex, as you wrestle all of these things, off of your body, both of you sort of your attention being entirely enraptured by this supernatural scene, you of course sort of lose sight of what's going on at the actual shrine. And when the snakes are shown to be false and the streamers are nothing but something on the floor, you take a look back at where the stone face was placed, the claws were placed, and the candles were set. And there is nothing there. And there is a slight sort of jostle in the bag, as if it slightly got a little heavier.
That's cute.
Fair trade, I expect.
I mean, I anticipated leaving them, so there you go. They were an offering.
Offering well spent.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna start walking back.
I won't tell anyone, by the way.
Listen,
that you're afraid of streamers. I saw nothing.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Of course, and as he picks up his pack, a streamer falls off of it.
Slides
I jump.
Definitely wasn't there before.
Did we hear the shrill scream coming out of the bag when the snakes came, or was that strictly for the two that were present? Did Zorvarax protecting Percy back there at the cart hear anything amiss?
That's an interesting question. Give me a perception check, but I'll say give it to me with a disadvantage since you weren't there for the whole ritual part of it.
Oh, well, that's gonna be a whopping 6.
You might have heard something in the distance, but you couldn't tell whether or not it was like an animal wrestling around in the woodlands or the supremely supernatural experience they just had.
Also, is the mist still around us?
How long does that lay out? Probably.
Are you gonna have to find your way back to the cart?
Just follow the giant
Let me tell you.
cloud of smoke.
It's conch based, so you should be able to drop it at will.
Yeah,
Hey,
sure.
hey.
If memory serves.
Yeah, I can drop it at will, but it's up to an hour. So, like, if we wanted to keep it,
Cool.
we could. But it can only be if we're traveling at a speed of 10 miles per hour or less.
Good to know.
All right, does
So if we need it in the future.
Viola and Yoan return to our cart?
Oh yeah, I'm already there. I'm already just posted back up next to Percy and next to Zorvarax up in the front.
As we were approaching the cart, I was whispering to Percy, "Now remember, when you cup it, you want to be firm but not hurtful." And as they're coming,
We're cupping what now? Sorry, hello.
yeah, was it a rock? It was a rock, right?
We were just learning about cupping. Says Percy with like.
Right.
So was it a rock?
There were rocks, but it was a shrine.
A shrine to...
Catawax.
Oh.
You were here for that. Right? Were you here for that?
I don't know if you ever explained to us who it was before you went off to season.
Oh, I thought Percy explained.
Oh,
it to all of
Yoan
us.
definitely did.
Yeah. If Percy didn't, Yoan made sure that everyone knew he knew.
Oh. So they have a bag now, though, right?
Shall we?
The bindle stays at the shrine.
Okay.
It lives
So
there.
you
It's
stop for some
home.
rocks.
I think we'll be a little better off on this journey for having stopped, however briefly.
Well, let's hope so. Onward ho, Percy!
Don't call Percy such names.
It's tough. It's tough love. I love it very much.
Oh,
Percy
get-
knows.
This is really what it's like traveling on the frontier, isn't it? We're all just so rough and tumble. I'm getting quite the experience. as, as Percy cracks on the horse's reins again, and you continue onward on your journey. All right, we have that. Save that for now. We'll say that you travel for the better part of a couple of days, right? We're truncating some time in terms of you're on a fair road. Oh, I see.
Long rest?
You can take a long rest, but you know how I do overland travel. I make you work for it, so it's not an I win.
It's been a while.
Okay. So if that's the case, if you want to try to it's been a while. If you want to try to find a suitable place on the roadside to bunker down for the night, it'll be like a little bit of a
wait. What do you need? Because I'm fine. Like life wise, I'm fine. You know what I mean? Like
I'm just a bit tapped on my arcane potential. I'm out of spells. Well, I got one spell.
Heard. I can't help you with that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, if we get into a battle, I'm gonna be all right. But
how many of us fit in the hut again?
I think all of us.
Oh, okay. I think you're right. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's like 6 to 8, isn't it?
It's a 10-foot radius, so all of it, the cart included, should fit. Barely.
You can probably wheel the cart in and then probably have some people bunk in the cart as well. 9
creatures of medium size or smaller can fit inside the dome with you. So 10 medium spaces.
Cool.
Excellent. If that's the case...
Just curiosity, sorry.
Oh, okay. I will say that if you want to tap a use of Leoman's Tiny Hut, you can. I'll give you advantage on your ability to make suitable long rest camp. But if not, then you'll just have
I don't think Yelen's an inexperienced caravaner. He's a little nervous, but he's going to press his luck. And if it all gets screwed up, then he'll have learned his lesson if he's alive.
Excellent. So we'll say, the party has fair roads and fair weather for a couple days worth of travel, pushing onward. Make sure I'm looking at my notes correctly. Okay. Eventually, as you are taking the road up one of the steep golden hills that stretch across Sunsteppe, you find your way at the peak, and as you stare down into the landscape below, you begin to see that the biome drastically shifts, and that the weather on the horizon is a far cry... Ooh, Suntite. Violet. Is a far cry from the blue skies with the touches and hints of autumn gold that you are used to. As you see, nearby, we'll say it is a weather-worn rod which has been beaten into the earth with a single banner, similarly tattered by winds and force for quite some time, but it bears the markings of the province of Riverholm. So you are making your way closer and closer to your destination. Riverholm, what you see before you is a vast stretch of graveled bluffs with seemingly endless waterways cutting and coursing between them. The entire area seems held together by makeshift irrigation channels and bridge works. Both, you can see from here, both caravanners and ferrymen in equal measure make a business out of helping travelers navigate the waterlogged passages, the roadways, and canals, all stretching forward deeper into the... What is the word I want to say? The countryside. You can see there is a wash of relief over Percy's face. Oh, one step closer. I can feel it. I can feel it in my breast. We are near Parel Channel. Soon we'll be able to rid ourselves of this terrible errand and make good on your quest, your noble deed.
Our quest, Percy, our quest. Don't forget, you're part of this.
There's a bit of a blush to his cheek. Well, I learned from some of the most capable, I do suppose.
Ah, you're welcome, Percy. I know you're referencing me.
Yes, Silverax, I am indeed.
You've done a great job leading us, by the way. I know I've been hard on you, but it was for your own good, and you really rose to the occasion.
Well, I think it was always in me. Just needed a little coaxing, you know.
Oh, I knew it was.
The heart.
Kaboom.
Another resounding shake in his armor, which barely fits him. He sounds like a tin can rattling inside there.
So, Percy, baby, you seem relieved. Like, how far are we from our destination now? From this spot?
Well, Parel Channel is, of course, connected to one of these, as he points to all the zigzagging waterways, which, like, loop under the bridges and continue to course out into other lakes, and it's this whole mishmash of bridges and coursing streams. It's connected to one of these waterways. Presumably, they all are, to some degree, here. So, if we follow one, then it will bleed and blend into Perel. And so we shall find, and so it shall be.
Can I throw a little survival at that to see if that tracks?
You absolutely can.
I'm gonna use a point of inspiration because my survival's not good, and I feel very bad about what he just said. That done 16, both dice.
Ooh, okay.
Nice.
Wait, unless that's an 18. No, it's 16.
Regardless, as you pore over Percy's handwritten charts and maps that he's prepared for this journey ahead, despite how maybe off-kilter his descriptions was in his eccentric way, there is a method to his madness. It does make sense. Perel Channel would eventually bleed into one of the waterways that is before you. It is one of the largest, if not the largest waterway. Perel Channel, if we consider the map of Mira, as you all are heading to Danareth proper, which is in the center of the continent, Perel Channel is like the largest body of water, which starts with, not body of water in terms of a sea, mind you, but largest flowing river, lake sort of situation, flowing from Riverholm to the Heartlands, right? So it is unmistakable. It is pretty much used as the Blue Road, they call it, from Riverholm to Danareth.
I'm going to sit down next to Percy and I'm going to ask him very seriously. Do we need to prepare and come up with a plan for when we meet the rest of your clan? Should we be on edge? Will we be safe? I feel like we've gotten close enough that you would tell me the truth.
Give me an insight check.
Well, I'm going to use inspiration on that.
Okay, yeah.
Well, it's still 14, so
14?
it is what it is.
It's what it is. You can see he nods his head, and you know, a 14 is still not a poor roll. And Percy, you have built a certain rapport with each other, so I don't believe you sense any duplicitousness in him in this moment. And he says, Viola, I do know that I've had to keep a tight purse string around my lips for this journey, and I know that must be off-putting, except for the promise of gold, I understand. But believe me when I say it is because it is information that I do not have to share. And as far as my uncle goes, and the Valiants are concerned, you should not worry for your safety. They are the Valiants. They are the noble warriors of this land. They will surely swear to protect you. But what I can say of this land in particular before us, Riverholm, I cannot speak to its dangers. I have already led you into some fairly perilous places, unfortunately, and Riverholm is no different.
Will anything that we are transporting ultimately cause harm to anyone, Percy?
And with this, you can see, like, with honesty in his eyes, I don't know.
Okay.
I know that it is of great import to people far beyond my station, and the kind of individuals who make those decisions, while I always hope they are in the best interest of myself and my kith and kin in Mira, of that I cannot say with certainty.
Well, I trust that you're going to do what's right for us. So I feel like we've been on this together and we've saved each other's lives multiple times. So I trust that this is going to be, we're here with you.
And I with you. CEO and taken off mute.
I was just wanted to point out that the Uncouther just granted us as a party inspiration.
Oh heck! I missed it. Uncouther.
Aww.
Thank you.
What's up?
You were deep in the RP. I didn't stop it.
I was in the lore. I had my lore brain on. Thank you, Uncouther. So Viola and Percy share this moment. It seems as though Percy is being honest. There is a certain truth to the fact that whatever they're transporting, its ultimate purpose is unbeknownst to him, although he knows, of course, that it is important to the Valiants. And other than that, is there any other questions for Percy, or... says Big Zilazom, can we stack inspiration? So in a lot of DMs run it differently. I think rules is written in the book. You can only hold one inspiration point at a time, and you have to spend it before you earn it. But I say nay to that because I like to reward constant roleplay and benefit. So if you grant the party inspiration, I will let them bank it. They can't spend it for the same roll. Like if they have 3 points of inspiration, they just can't keep burning, the same roll until hopefully they win. But they can save them for 3 separate rolls over different amounts of time, is how I run it. So yes, you can. And other than that, as any business with Percy, as you stare out into the waterlogged, as you can see, it's almost comical in its timing. As soon as you crest the hill over like the dusk and the golds of Sunsteppe behind you, there's immediately like a thunder crack and a light drizzle begins to come down as you stare into the waterlogged ravines of Riverholm, which eventually leads to the Stone Coast, which is known for its storms and weather and wetness.
I stand out, arms open, let the rain.
Wait, you stand
Let the rain
with arms.
fall
What?
down.
Well, I like how we both had a song, but they were both very different songs. I love that.
So is the water
Same generation.
Yeah.
is the water drivable? Can you get in the water?
Oh, like, can you swim in the water?
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So I would hope. So I whisper to Blue, let's race. The dude has to jump in the water.
You're on.
Okay. I'm ready. Let's go.
Oh my god, I love this. All right.
Yeah.
Like you said, I'm gonna break out running now.
And I think I'll be like, wait, you didn't call time. Like, I'm waiting for the gun to go.
All right, so here's what we'll say. We'll handle this with a series of checks. Unless you have another skill or spell that you'd want to use in cooperation with this, the first thing will be an athletics check. Musa D, because you broke off before Zorvax had a chance to react, I'll give you advantage on the check.
Ooh, that's a 19 athletics for Zorvax.
Oh.
What? Okay.
You challenged a big, strong boy to a
it's-
strength game.
Yeah, you're not beating me.
No!
You're not beating me. I rolled a natural 20. So that's that.
I'm not even mad. Zorvax is happy.
There's a moment like Musa D breaks into a dead sprint. Zorvax like, wait, did we start? And then like in a few with his like loping strong gait, like a couple like Musa D's like, like he's already ahead. Looks to the left, and Zorvax is already like Terminator running up beside him like neck and neck. And then with some unseen level of inner force, truly, what's the word? Tapping into the mortal coil within you, Musa D. You watch Zorvrax in utter astonishment. Either who knows, adrenaline, fear that you caught up, who knows? But there's a moment where you're neck and neck with Musa D, and then a moment later, you are literally eating dust and mud as he presses far ahead of you across the roadside. And you're running towards the river?
Bursting out laughing. He's just like, ha ha ha. He's like Goku. He loves to see a challenge, you know?
So yeah, Blue, get in that water. Jump.
Is that our next? Is it time? Shall we swim?
Loser has to jump in the water. You lost.
All right. I'm gonna jump in the water, but I'm gonna cannonball as hard as I can, so that I get Musa D wet as well.
Musa D, give me a dexterity saving throw, and then what would be 10 plus your strength mod or your athletics mod? Zorvrax?
My athletics mod would be 15.
15.
Yeah.
21.
Zorvrax, you hit the bottom of the river, which is a little more shallow than you anticipated. You hit so hard, there's a moment where just all the water like dumps out of the side, and you just see Zorvrax sitting on the bottom. A pain ripples through your ass cheeks like you've never felt. And then a huge wave pours over the side of the river, but Musa D, with your signature grace and elegance, you step to the side and just let it splash uselessly onto the bank nearby.
It looks like the Uncouth also gave you a point of inspiration for your cannonball.
For the cannonball?
Thank you, Uncouthery.
Uncouth, giving him out tonight. Giving him out tonight.
You gotta have that point of inspiration to mend those ass cheeks.
Oh yeah. They will clap another day.
A couple of medicine checks will be required until they're back to prime clapping potential. But as Zorvrax pulls himself, legs quivering ever so slightly out of the river.
Musa D, you win today. Good sport. Good sport.
I am good at what I do, Blue. With that being said, I go back to the cart, and so where to next?
Where to next? So Percy, poring over his notes with Yoan, they put their eyes on a long stretch of water which seems to lead deeper into Riverholm, and from what you can compare against Yoan's natural knowledge of the land and history and the notes that Percy has procured for the party, this does seem like the most likely route heading straight for Perel Channel. So, nothing holding you back unless y'all want to do anything else before pressing ahead.
I waddle up and sat myself back on the cart. Let's go.
Percy sort of gives you a sly smile and sort of hearkening back. Oh, good show. So heroic. Did a fine display as he tries to like give you a swat on the back, but you can hear like it reverberate through his own hand. He's like, ooh, ah.
Thank you. I'll be easier on you from now on.
Yeah, not so funny when you're on the other end, huh?
Yeah, my ass hurts now too.
And does the party head into Perel Channel?
Do it.
Thumbs up.
Wait, unless we see a shop nearby.
A what?
I've got some gold pieces. A shop.
A shop? Yeah, I'm about to say a thought.
Shop.
Oh,
no, Sorverax?
Yeah, I was about to say Nick Brigadier with the funds, like never not on tap. Here's what I want to say to you, Nick Brigadier. I wish there was a method by which I could grant you inspiration through the Twitch chat, because I honestly would, with just how those puns never stop. They never stop, and they're always so good. I mean, I think they're great. Some people don't like puns. All right, so Perel Channel, we go. Let me look at my notes again because I'm running on 2 computers, so nothing breaks. Fingers crossed. And, okay. Here's the thing. When you don't open up the note that you need beforehand, and then you have to search for it. Vamp! 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 All right, I
The
found it.
DM didn't think we're gonna get this far.
There was a part of me that thought you were really gonna botch that overland travel check. You know what I mean? You've made a pretty good habit of botching it so far. But hey.
Tune in next week
Listen,
for
you
when we
can't
go
blame
through a
everything
grassy
on
field.
me.
But I do find my notes, and they are working. Okay, perfect. So, the party follows the bends of... I'm inspired just watching. Oh, thank you. Thank you, my good friend, Nick. The party follows Perel Channel for quite some time, until they eventually see that the river leading to Perel Channel, the roadside sort of actually winds along one of these crisscrossing riverbanks. This one in particular has a few uneven slopes that kind of give you almost the feeling as if you're rocking on a boat, right? The caravan rolls up one steep embankment and then down another. You can see the Percy's stomach turning and churning with every roll up and roll down of the hill. It also gives way to some low but I see.
I do want to say that the motion of that feels like a boat puts Viola right to sleep.
Aw. That's so wholesome. I love that. Also, I guess it means
I'm a boat baby.
You are a boat baby. Here's what I'll say. Point of inspiration, but no perception. Because you are asleep. You are dead asleep. There's sort of a rolling and rocking of the wagon as it carts around these steeping, sloping hills. And you, of course, hear the pitter-patter, the rush of the water nearby. It's all very sort of soothing. The gentle taps of the rain on top of the caravan as it rolls along Riverholm. And there's also this these smatters of... They almost seem like wild ferns. They're like low, stringy, rough foliage that kind of shoot out in all directions. It's almost like wild explosions of green that dot the landscape. And Percy's leading on the caravan, and you sort of hit the top of one of the rolling hills, right? And suddenly there's a shoom. The entire caravan just sort of screeches to an unnatural halt as Percy... You can hear the surprise in Percy's voice is sort of, yikes! And sort of like grabs on the reins and holds them up. Definitely was not in his plan to make that stop, but the entire caravan lurches forward.
Percy, what are
That
you
wakes me up.
doing?
I don't know. They won't move. They've stopped as he sort of hits the ropes again. Silver.
I would jump to attention and jump out by the horses.
Same. I jump out by the horses too.
Okay. Looking at my notes again. Everybody's looking
After
at my
hearing Percy say, I don't know what's going on, knowing he's okay, I'd get out by the horses.
All right, so we have Zorvarax and Viola jumping out for the horses. Musadi and Yoan, what are you doing?
Wait, aren't you asleep?
Yoan is.
That's true.
Josh
Oh.
will wake me up.
Yoan actually would be waking Viola up
Okay, fair.
and sitting tensely in the wagon, waiting for shit to go south.
Waiting for something bad to happen. Okay, so being rustled awake, Viola, do you still choose to jump out?
Yeah, I immediately go for the animal.
Okay. Viola and Zorvarax push open the doors as you can hear Percy at the top. Well, wait one moment, but before he has a moment to say anything, of course, with Zorvarax's gusto, you both plunge yourselves out onto the hillside, and immediately there's this strange, almost sucking sensation, this cold sucking sensation, which emanates at the bottoms of your feet and your boots as soon as you take a step downward. Can both of you give me a... What would that be? I'm going to say a strength saving throw.
Oh, wow, that was actually right on the edge.
I got a nat 20.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Just a base strength.
Strength saving throw. So if you are trained in strength saving throws, you can add your...
That's a non-natural 20.
A non-natural 20. Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
You plop down outside of the caravan, and you can feel that sort of that sucking sensation at the bottom of your feet. And although your boots and your clawed feet, Zorvrax, are on top of the earth, which is of course wet and sort of soaked from the rainfall, the feeling that you're experiencing isn't so much like almost like a quicksand, or like it's not like you're sinking in mud, but it almost just feels like someone has immediately bound invisible weights to your ankles. As every step, for a moment when you first jump out of the caravan, it seems like this invisible force would anchor you and root you to the very ground. But you manage to find something within yourself to wrestle free of that influence, and you can step and you can move, but it feels like you are walking through a different level of gravity. It is so heavy just to exert any force within this mysterious sensation you found yourself in.
This doesn't feel right. Should
You
I back to the cart? I'm gonna head back to the cart. Can I get back on the wagon?
You can. We'll table your action until I hear what Viola's doing. Big Zilla K Zoom said finally, and gave the entire party inspiration. He's been saving him up. Saving him up.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh! Speaking of saving him up,
about to use them all.
We've gotten like 3 inspiration in the past 5 minutes.
I might have to tune some numbers, but for now.
Yeah, we're gonna be like.
We'll see how that goes.
We're gonna be.
I'm gonna ready my bow
before this thing is done. Yeah. Every
I do want to start making my way back to the carriage, but before I do, I want to roll perception.
Okay.
I want to see.
Can I do the same? I was just gonna say I feel like I would check what I got out there to check before I ran away. Ooh, that's only gonna be a 14 for me.
I got a 13.
13?
Yeah.
Gotcha. To this, as you both wheel around to take yourselves back to the cart, you hear a sharp sound cut through one of the ferns on the other side of the cart, sort of looking down into the hillside, sloping downward, and a voice comes out from the darkness. Stop right where you are. Take no further step.
Does this sound familiar?
Does it sound familiar?
Yeah.
History check.
Ooh, I'm actually good at that. Oh, that's only... Oh, wait! Inspiration, baby! That's gonna be a 13, even 13? With inspiration.
No voice in recent history, and I don't believe any voice in Zorvrax's storied past.
Okay.
I do not believe so.
How close is this guy?
The voice is emanating about 60 odd feet away towards the ferns. You haven't really got an eye on what had produced that sound yet, but you can tell about 60 feet.
Can I?
Oh, sorry.
Well, I was just gonna voice back into the caravan. Did you guys hear that too? Did they hear that too?
I would say yeah. I would say this voice.
It wasn't like a magical voice. It was actually coming over there. Okay.
Correct. Not a supernatural giggle on the wind this time around.
Cool.
I want to cast Cause Fear. It's a first level spell. I want to cast that at this person. It looks like they have to succeed on a Wisdom saving throw, or become frightened.
You cannot currently see this creature.
Osh.
So it's not a valid target yet.
Bet. All right. So then what I'm going to do is I am going to cast thaumaturgy to make my voice louder. And I'm going to say, who goes there?
As your voice booms and echoes out, in kind, another voice, which matches your own in volume, as if subsequently supernaturally empowered. Do not try to frighten us with those cheap tricks. We know such incantations. And as that voice echoes throughout the space, you begin to see some shifting coming out from the ferns that are dotting the roadside, slowly making their way known to you, and all in semicircle around the caravan. So basically, you have your caravan on a hill. On one side, there is the river that you've been following. And then all along the other side, where it's been sort of dotted with this foliage, figures begin to emerge. What they appear to be are over a dozen, give or take. Some of them are still crouched in the weeds, so it's kind of hard to tell. But roughly over a dozen humanoid figures, about the size of any average mortal. They are draped head to toe in dingy, tattered, gray and black robes.
Musadi.
Musadi.
Okay.
They took him. Gray and black robes. They all wear heavy hoods over the tops of their heads, with black cloth masks either over their face or over their eyes, and bandages. Sort of like not quite a uniform, but you definitely see there is some uniformity in how they are carrying themselves. And they all are wearing amulets around their necks. From this distance, it may take a bit of a check to see if you can point it out. But the one thing that you can see about the amulets is that they all are damaged in some way. They're not damaged uniformly, so they're not like all beaten, battered in the same way. But you can see some look like they have been melted, some have been smashed up, some have been like cut or slashed. All of the amulets seem to have been purposefully marred or disfigured in some way.
Throw a history check at this
Right.
and see if I recognize the robe colors or the amulet damage shenanigans.
Yes. You want to roll that as well? You both.
I want to roll religion with that.
I feel like
Religion.
I already did, so I can't again, right?
Got you. Okay. Yes.
I would, but
I would, but Yoan, you can roll, and I will also, because I know some of your history, I will give you advantage on this check. Viola, you can give me religion, but I would actually say this would be at disadvantage.
Oh, a disadvantage?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to try it anyway.
15 for Yoan.
15?
It's a 12.
A 12. Viola, you see the amulets, and your knowledge of general sort of religious practice does sort of give you some inkling that perhaps it is a symbol or marker of some sort of communal goal or ideal, but there isn't like a specific divine force that pops out in your mind immediately. Yoan, you are very familiar with these pendants, because these pendants represent, well, what you can see beyond their damaging. You are used to seeing them in their true unbattered form. But what you see is the remains of a pendant that would have 5 pillars upholding an all-seeing eye at its center. This is the symbol for the magisterium of the Stone Coast. It is the school of all arcane knowledge, wizardry, occult studies, and the supernatural in all of Mira.
Yoan is going. Oh no! Because I was just reading the Discord description of this location, I know exactly what's going on here. Does Yoan know the significance of their amulets being broken?
If I remember correctly, you did spend a good deal of time here, or you're
originally that was the plan, but I think now we're on our way. I'm trying to get to the magisterium.
Got you. If that
I think we retcon that.
Yeah, retcon that. Okay, if that's the case, I would say I would say you would be passingly if you knew. Yeah, I would say you'd be passingly familiar.
With the reason why they're broken?
Yes.
Oh boy.
Oh.
Yoan nearly pops his head out the window of the wagon to say hello until he notices the condition that the badges are in. And then he presses back into the wagon. And who's in here with me? Is it
Musaddi and Percy, I think.
Percy. Mm-hmm.
Musaddi and Percy? Because I don't want to alarm anyone, but
I'm
these
already
appear to be,
alarmed. We're late for that. I'm quite alarmed.
Well, may I give you a reason then? We should tread carefully. These are magisterium rejects, hedge wizards. Not exactly something to be. Well, you know how the rules of magic tend to be very strict for someone of my persuasion, a studier of magic, not someone who's born with it per se. Beside the point. The point is, they may have upset somebody with the way they were doing their magic, which is to say that they may not be people to trifle with.
So you're meaning to tell me we've just been beset upon rogue wizards of some kind?
That's the short version, yes.
Right, but are we being robbed?
But Yoan shrugs and bends an ear out the window.
What would edge wizards want with randomly with us?
Do you wanna? I see some.
Is that a segue?
Yeah,
to
but
cut? What would head wizards want with us?
Go.
Figures out what they want with us.
I am going to lean over to Zorbrax and I'm going to say, "It's now the right time for fog cloud."
Hold on.
Okay.
You ask us to stop with trickery such as this, and I kind of mime having a hard time walking, even though I obviously didn't before. What do you want from us?
A fine question. As one sort of like steps forward towards the brush, you can see alongside three others slowly also follow suit in almost in perfect synchronicity with his action, or their action. Say they're shrouded. You can't quite tell.
So when this person moved, a bunch of them almost in synchronicity moved?
Correct.
Okay. Not entirely. So they're not all just a mirror image of the sky.
You don't know that. But you do know that when one moved, a bunch did move in tandem. One walks forward with a small cadre of fellows at their sides and says, "Exactly. What do we want with you? It's not often that you feel such a great and powerful magical presence transporting itself along the roadways."
I'm flattered. I may be a dragonborn.
Out the window and say that exact same thing.
I know I'm not very common in these parts, but please, I don't need the fanfare.
Oh, a barbarian like you is a dime a dozen.
Barbarian? I take offense to that genuinely, and I brandish my halberd. I am no barbarian.
And what you carry with you, I imagine, is no common trinket. And you can see back in the cart, Percy's eyes go wide. There's just like a heavy he gulps, and you can see every muscle in his throat sort of pushing down to his belly.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is there only one doing all of the talking, or is it kind of spread out between most of them?
Because they're all wearing shrouds and masks, and at this point, we've talked about how they're using magic to project their voices like you did. It is kind of hard to tell who is the main speaker. You can see there's one that has sort of stepped forward from the brush to address you correctly, but yes, there is sort of like a strange, confounding effect to how many there are and how loud their voices and their shrouding visages.
Am I close enough to touch Zorbrax?
Oh, yeah, you jumped out next to each other, so I would say you'd be within 5 feet.
Cool. So I am gonna touch Zorbrax and put some resistance on you.
Do I like feel that when it happens? Can I like does Zorvrax without having to hear it know he's got resistance because of the touch?
Yeah.
I think I go be cool when I just touch you.
Yeah, I would say that you probably feel something that is akin to like a wave of energy, sort of almost coursing through the little cracks in your scales, almost like fusing them even tighter together.
As I have said, I am no barbarian. I will try to take a step back. I am a warrior of honor. And as a warrior of honor, I like to see my enemy face to face. And if we are to be enemies, which I hope we are not, as I am simply a traveler, as we all are, motioning back to my caravan, we are
I'm
simply
nodding.
trying to make our way peacefully through these lands. But since you have drawn the line in the sand, I must as well. So I must see my opponent in the face as I am that valorous. In better terms than that.
Endearing as it is for you to want honorable combat, I cannot say that we seek the same. What we seek is in your cart, and we will have it by one means or another. You will hand it over to us, and there will be no qualm, or we will pry it from you.
How close am I to this guy?
They are still about 60 feet away in all directions.
Okay.
I reach my hand. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, go. You do your thing because Yoan's got a big old chunk of speech.
I'm gonna reach my hand up towards the carriage and ask for the manifest, so I can read off everything that we have in our carriage to them.
Joe's going fireball. A couple more levels. Yeah, a couple more levels past the spy.
That's
maybe.
Level 5.
Yeah, they got a little bit before they can blow everybody up.
We're babies.
I got firebolt, burning hands.
Yeah. I got all the fire stuff, but a couple levels lower.
Explode.
Yoan, I'm gonna assume Viola asks for the manifest. Yoan's going to grab the manifest, swing out of the cart, and hand it to her. And before she can start reading stuff off, he's going to go, my friends, look, I don't mean to tell you your business, but you should know to whom this particular cargo belongs before you go traipsing about trying to take it. I would think.
Oh boy! Is this where the party talks themselves out of another spot of banditry? Let's find out.
Before Yoan leaves me, like when he's handing me the manifest, I put some guidance on him on the way.
All right. Let me open up my notes because once again I did not plan for the silver tongue.
The defense buffs for the tank.
Yoan is going to, by the way, but as he's going to take a step back toward the coach and look at Musadi and say, "Don't you dare say the name you said last time."
Wait, I don't know the joke.
Oh, the last time they were beset upon by a very different gang of bandits in Sunsteppe, they were trying to talk out of getting into a fight, and then Musadi put on like a brogue, put on like an accent, and proclaimed that they were servants of Corpse Eater, and that was enough to have. Yeah, it was enough to have the bandits run off.
They were mad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But okay, so we definitely have. I'm taking some notes here about tracking skill progress to see if you're gonna try and talk about. So that you say of who this belongs, and so to this you can see there is sort of like a narrowing of eyes from behind their clothed and robed faces. Well, it seems like you have something to say, so you might as well spit it out.
Aptly recognized. Have you heard by chance of the wandering knights known as the Valiants.
And to this, like, they all sort of trade looks, and you can see as one looks to the other, all of the rest sort of like look from side to side in due course. Well, of course we've heard of the Valiants. They're one of the longest-lived institutions in all of Mira.
Naturally. Well, this particular cargo is en route to the Valiants. And matter of fact, it is in the hands of, and he gestured toward Percival, wherever he may be cowering.
I'm strategically waiting for a moment to strike.
This stalwart figure right here is one Percival Graham, nephew of one Theor Graham.
Percival's eyes are going wide. Yoan, what are you doing? Yoan!
Be cool, man.
Yoan!
One of the most noted among the Valiants. Now, I'm not saying that there would be any recourse should you let us go. We certainly don't know who you are, your names, what have you. But I will say that should any harm befall our stalwart leader here or the cargo that we transport, you can be sure that the Valiants will be combing this land, searching for the people who upset our course. I'm
not quite sure if you're going for a persuasion or an intimidate, but I would take either in this scenario.
I'm gonna go persuasion because I'm not threatening them. I just want them to know, like, this is what you're signing up for if you do this.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can add your guidance to it, which you can roll a d4.
That's right. I can.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really gonna put some advantage on this. I'm gonna spend some inspiration because oh boy.
You got this, Daddy.
Oh, and good thing because one of them was a 1. That is let me double check. 22 persuasion.
That is a very good persuasion.
Not good enough.
I mean, it will take a little bit more coaxing, of course. But I mean, that is a strong start. As they sort of look back and forth once again as they hear the smatterings of the word Graham on your lips, and you can see some of them whisper. The name definitely strikes some chord within them. They've heard the tales of Theor Graham and how many ne'er-do-wells and villains that he's put to his sword. And you can even hear one of them say, "The sword arm of Theor Graham" amongst them, and you can just see like Percy's arm quivering just like erratically at his side. Fair enough. The Valiants would be an ire we would not wish to stoke, but that would be if they could find us. This is our land. We own Riverhome, and we walk amongst its mists and its rain as easily as we do a cloak upon our backs. Let them falter in the water. Let them be broken upon the rocks as if they would ever find us.
What is the terrain around us along the river? Are there trees nearby? Are there bushes? Is there any kind of big stalwart, something up there I can break?
There's definitely some like I mentioned, there were those like wild ferns, those big shrubs that are growing all along the side of the road.
Shrubs aren't very manly to destroy, though.
you wanna flex on them a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we'll say that there's probably like it's a smattering of foliage.
There a big stone along the river?
Oh, baby, we got stones.
Baby,
You want
big
stones?
stones? I want the closest to boulder-looking stone I can find.
You find it. I mean, here's the thing. I will say this. You find it, but like walking over to it is like, once again, you are like zoom, zoom, like every time you lift your leg, and you can hear like every time they can see your footsteps like struggling. There's like a snicker. There's like a laugh that echoes.
Well, I already succeeded in the strength save for it, so I'm hoping that in me doing that, that's impressive enough. The fact that I'm gonna try to walk there with as little like grunting, like Zorvrax is hiding the fact that it's hard to walk.
Okay, I see. Oh, look, free kitty,
I mean?
Free kitty for stream. Everybody,
oh, kitty stream.
Everybody, give love to
Don't ban us on
chat.
Twitch, please.
Wait, is that not good or cat's not allowed?
I don't know. I feel like there's censorship for everything these days.
All right,
But,
I see.
Zobrax wants
You're
to-
trying to
wants to-
prove your strength
I'm
by
going for an
marching through it.
intimidation check here.
All right.
Again.
This is going to be a D&D hot tub stream in no time.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Before we know it, we're gonna have a roulette going.
I just bought a kiddie pool that I'm gonna DM from almost exclusively.
But he wants to be like, okay, so you're not scared of the Valiants. Well, you can kill me, but I'm gonna take plenty of you with me, and I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna throw the biggest rock I can find.
All right.
For an intimidation of 17.
Chet says this got crazy quick. yeah. That's usually how it goes in our game. Zorvarax, you steel your muscles against this otherworldly force. You manage to get yourself towards the edge of the riverbank, and you pick up a massive stone, and you lob it as hard as you can across the other side, and it lands with a quite thunderous thunk. But as you turn your head, there is no sway within the smattering of rogue wizards as they say, "We command powers far beyond your physical form, warrior. What makes you think lobbing a stone would shake us?"
Well,
Musa D, mention Corpse Eater. Mention Corpse Eater.
It's like the fail safe. Pull it.
Why not switch the part where we killed him, though? Or her. Or all her opinions.
How close is this person to me in the car?
So far, they've still remained at that 60-foot perimeter. They're staying well around.
I'm gonna hold on for now, just see if anybody has anything better to do. Because if I whip out that corpse eater, be in it.
So far, you're at 1 success and 1 failure in terms of trying to talk them out of this fight. So it's not wholly lost, but you're talking your way through it, and so far.
Can I see kind of all the frustration in the air? Everyone kind of like and then Zorvrax just and he blasts his dragon breath into the air. Since they weren't wowed by my physical prowess, he kind of takes like and it just
okay.
Out.
I would let you use intimidate with that and with advantage because you are spending a use of your breath weapon to do so.
Would I need to re-roll the intimidate from, or can I do
it? Can be a separate check. It can be a separate check.
Okay.
Yeah. Normally I like to keep it to 1 because you're changing but because you're using an ability and changing your tactic, I'll allow it.
Cool. So then that's gonna be, the first one was an 8, but since I had advantage, the second is a 14, so that's an 18 for intimidation.
18. As Zorvrax leans back and opens up his gaping maw and releases a blast of lightning straight into the sky, you can see some of the robed figures. They almost take a step back, and once again, in a ripple effect, the rest of them also sort of follow suit. Some of them even like brandish their wands from beneath their cloaks or like hold their quarterstaffs across their bodies. As you hear more whispers kind of going back and forth between them. The blood of the dragon, a mighty weapon indeed, sort of like speaking back and forth. You can see that you've definitely shaken their position. That is a success. Some of them might not want to go toe to toe with a warrior with dragon's blood.
Should have seen it before. I mean, look at me, but whatever.
Is there anybody that looks like they're particularly like steeled against this? Like they're like, I'm not scared.
Well, there's always one. So
and is it just one, or is it?
there may be more. I mean, like I said, we're arguing our way through. So there's definitely some who are more rattled than others. So if you want to prey upon a certain weakness of character, you certainly can.
Great. So I want to cast Cause Fear on one of them that is looking even like that's looking pretty frightened. I want to cast Cause Fear on them to make them even more frightened.
Yes.
So startled.
So startled. I will let you choose your choice depending on which skill is more effective. I'll let you choose either Intimidate or Arcana, and I will give you advantage on that check. Since you're using a spell slot
Look,
to...
I have neither of those are good, so we are where we
You
are.
could guide yourself.
Oh yeah, okay. Alright.
You say a quick prayer to Tetrios.
Oh, okay, we're good. And then D4, but I think I don't even need it. Oh yeah, no, that's a 21.
21. Okay. You sort of narrow your eyes, and there is a faint glow of divine light from underneath your hood as you sort of channel your clerical energy through the, so far I believe, unseen marking upon your brow. But there is a strange emanation of light from beneath your hood. As you narrow your gaze, you focus on one of the rogue wizards who are standing nearby, and you can see the hands begin to quiver as they sort of tighten their grip up on their staff, and they lean over towards one of the figures who is speaking. Perhaps it is just a trinket of no import. Perhaps we are biting a bit more deeply than we would like. And you can see the other one hold his hand up. Silence. I know what I feel, and it is a power great, and I will not see it slip from our fingers. He looks to his ally, like shooting some venom. You are definitely breaking the lot of the will, but there's still a little wiggle room to go.
Where are we sitting at success failure wise?
You are 2 from a failure and 1 from a success.
All right.
Yeah, go ahead. Go.
Yoan is going to very dramatically and deliberately climb atop the wagon.
They all just wait for you to do it.
Everything is dramatic.
No, he's going to talk while he does this. He's going to start.
We are not surprised.
I have something to say.
As he's climbing, he talks, and ultimately he gets up on top of the wagon. He sits on top of the first, and he goes, I must also mention that you are not the first, nor, I think, will you be the last to try and seize this trinket from us, as you call it. Perhaps you've heard of the devious Gnoll Corpse Eater and her legion of likewise corrupted gnolls. Perhaps you've heard of Nuke, the Houndmaster, the ogre that plagued, I say, past tense, these hills behind us. And he claps a hand very deliberately on the tapestry of wolf pelts that he is now sitting upon.
And as Yoan does that, I'm playing underneath him. I'm just fucking it up. I'm just getting it while he's doing it.
Yes.
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 Shred, baby.
Scare him with the shred.
Oh my god. Okay. So do it with advantage. Whatever. I think it sounds like an intimidate, but do it with advantage.
Oh, it's intimidation.
And then also throw a +2 on top of it for having Nuke the Houndmaster shawl.
Oh yes. Okay, hold on. That is an 18 +2 +2. That's 22.
Oh.
Intimidation.
That's some scary ass
storytelling.
Yep.
Some campfire tales. Yoan espousing their victories against Corpse Eater and Nuke the Houndmaster, having the shawl of Nuke's wild hounds in his hands, and Musaddi just fingers going to town. There is enough of a swell in the crescendo of that music to Yoan's tale of caution that the wide range of the rest of the wizards seem to have lost their nerve, as slowly but surely you see that the 16 that were around you slowly begin to almost fade out of sight until you can see what now appears to be, I'm doing my math right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are now only 7 present, as Zorvarax, your inkling was right before. That seemed to be there some illusionary magic to try and bolster their number to shake you down. The one wizard who still was speaking for the lot and has shown the most resistance keeps up their duplicates, which is why you still see him in 4s, if you will, for a moment. But then as the rest of his compatriots dismiss their illusions and they look over to the shrouded figure, it's not worth it. I don't know what's in there, but these things have... I mean, they killed Nuke the Houndmaster. We're gonna be flayed alive out there. And then, finally the one puts his hand in front of them again. Silence! I know the danger we're in. Fine. Servants of the Valiants, pass this day without harm, but know this, that we the Forsaken always stalk Riverholm. And should you find yourselves in our path again, we might not be so gracious.
Neither shall we.
Come now, Zorvax. Come.
All right. Sorry.
I kind of lift
Should
my
we-
hood a
oh,
little
no,
bit
fine,
to
I'm
like
sorry.
No, you're good. So I kind of flash a little bit of my holy symbol, and I wink at them, and then I go into the carriage.
Anything else?
Conversely, if I may offer, should you cross our paths again, and whatever tavern we find ourselves in has my family's Durban mead, I will treat you to a mug for your gracious allowance of our passage. Good day to you all.
You can see as you like sort of bow them away under breath. Yeah, good day to you all. As he sort of takes his walk.
What was that?
My offer still stands. I offered you a challenge as a warrior that will always be open. To just them.
And we
We'll
may get that
mull it
challenge
over.
fulfilled if you keep it up,
See if
Zorvax.
you can throw a rock that far. Ultimately, that was really his challenge. Just to throw the rock furthest. I wasn't gonna kill them. Just, can you throw it that far? No? All right.
As the wizards all turn their backs and they walk towards the foliage, you can see the ends of their gray cloaks almost take on a smoke-like appearance as they sort of fade into the very mist that surrounds the waterworks of Riverholm. And as they dissipate into the natural phenomena around them, you can hear their footfalls and their boots get further and further away until it seems as though they have fully retreated from your sight.
Hey, fuck 'em up.
Level 1 adventuring.
Thank you for that support, Musadi.
Musadi's picking his nails. A little melodramatic, but it was okay.
Percy is like gripping the edge of the caravan, white-knuckled, wide-eyed. Did you really have to give them my name? My uncle's name? The name of the Valiants you gave... And they're just sort of like rattling off, breathing heavily.
Are we not still
Would you
alive,
rather?
Percival, and should we not make all due haste in the rest of our journey?
I mean, we're alive, but at what cost? He sort of
Do you
wailed.
not have faith in your brethren?
None yet.
You think that those 3 scrawny little guys can take on your family, the Valiant?
All I know is that this was definitely a mission to be undertaken with some level of secrecy, and now we announce that we are members of Corpse Eater's band. We are slayers of Corpse Eater's band. We name our allies as plainly as we do a badge upon our chest.
To be fair to Musadi,
No.
which I try not to do, but to be fair, if any of these bandits converse with one another, they're not going to know if we're with Corpse Eater, or we killed Corpse Eater, or we romantically entangled with Corpse Eater. Who knows with the Valiants?
Oversaturate the market, you know.
It is true.
Who's to tell the truth from the lies, eh?
The web
No
you
press
have
is
weaved
bad
is-
press.
I've heard that.
What's press?
With a heavy heart, Percival sort of acquiesces to your offering. I suppose we are none so bloodied, and we are thoroughly unenchanted by whatever dark means they were willing to throw upon us, so a victory is a victory. As he clambers into the saddle of the seat, you can see as well that as they slowly retreat, I should mention, away from the party, that feeling, that energy that was like anchoring down your legs also dissipates, and you can see at this point, now that it has been completely dispelled, that there appears to be almost like a magic circle which has been inscribed atop of the hill, the surface of the hilltop, which Percy had unknowingly steered you into, that set off their simple trap. I shouldn't say simple trap, but they're in plain sight.
I'm supposed to know things about traps as a dungeon delver. I should.
That's okay. It happens.
Next time.
He just level 2.
It's just level 2.
Well,
What do you know?
It's a feat. I'm a dungeon delver. It's supposed to be.
We're just babies.
It's all about
We're just
saving.
babies.
It's a saving.
It's just a
throw
baby.
thing. It's not just a
I'm
given.
just a baby.
But with you all chasing off the Forsaken for now, and avoiding your caravan being pilfered by their magical hand, you are free to continue uncontested deeper into Riverholm.
Score.
Unless anything else.
Should we?
Is there a quick other thing we should do before then, considering it's 9:55?
Yeah. I'll narrate sort of like the next scene coming up, and then sort of give us like a cliffhanger moment, and then we'll get into where we were at.
Love it.
So unless you have any other business talking to Percy about what has just happened, then you can steer the wagon forward.
I want to just connect with Percy for a second and just ask him why he was so upset that we gave the Valiants name.
I mean, as you well know, I'm not sure of what this object is, and I only know that the Valiants wanted it to be given to them in haste and with some discretion. If it is, as you alluded to before, some object of great power, or possibly even damaging effect, if it should fall into the hands of others who would not use it so nobly, well, I quiver at the thought.
I'll accept that.
So I'm gonna ask, what is in the damn bag? What is in the bag?
Musadi, we have spoken at length about this. I do not know. I only know that it is to be delivered to the Valiants.
So then let me look.
He's got a good point.
Musadi.
I think you're breaking him down.
I mean-
I think you're making progress.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good idea.
It is not. When did it become a good
Listen,
idea to
listen,
open
hold on.
the thing that I was told very explicitly not to open?
Well,
Percy,
they told you not to open it.
You
What
were
if he
told,
opens
exactly.
it?
And you are under my employ, under their employ. Their
Wait.
gold is my gold, which is
Hold
currently
on,
your
hold on,
gold.
wait a second. Hey, Percy, you want to go on a walk?
No, because then I will be far away from my package. We have built a layer of trust upon us, each and every one, and you would seek to undo it in one action.
Yes.
It's
I
true.
want to go for it. I'm going straight for the bag. At this point, I'm just going straight for the bag.
Oh my god.
No.
Percy runs
Oh, no.
after you. What
I
do
would
you do?
too. I think Zorvarax would too.
Do what? Run after the box?
After the bag, I would try to stop him from opening the box.
Stop opening. Okay.
Yeah,
so
I'm sorry, Musadi. I feel like Zorvarax would be like, nope, we took this job. We agreed not to open it. When
so
we
also
decided,
agree
right?
with
Like,
that.
we all, remind me, it's been so long. When we decided to take this job, our job was to caravan this from here to here without opening it, correct?
correct.
That was in our contract.
Well,
So Zorvrax is
I
gonna.
think he
try to
just
stop
told
Moose
us
D.
that we can't open it.
I thought
It
it was
is
necessarily-
implied. I mean, it might not be like.
I
I-
don't shake on not opening it.
Well,
It
either
is
way.
implied that you are getting orders from the
Yeah.
Valiants through Percy, and Percy said not to open it.
Yeah.
Okay, fair.
So-
But I will say this: if Musa D, you have your heart set on it, I will let you attempt a athletics check to break out of Zorvrax's grip. Zorvrax,
Sorry,
I
brother.
will give you advantage on this because you have both Percy. Even though Percy's not that strong, you will still be wrestling through two people's grips versus one person's grip. Musa D, I will allow it.
No, it's no hard feelings, Kamani. It's what Zorvrax would
I get
do.
it. I get it. Okay, so I get the roll twice, yeah?
Yeah.
I get to roll.
Oh, no,
twice.
Zorvrax gets to roll twice because
Yeah.
he has advantage for Percy helping.
Okay, so I rolled a 2.
And this is a what again? An athletics?
A contested athletics check, yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's
I
a
do.
3.
What did
My
you
dude.
roll?
I rolled an 18 plus 5.
Okay, so look, I rolled a 2. I'm gonna use one of these inspirations tonight, and I'm gonna roll one more time.
All
Okay?
right.
Rolled a 2.
I hope that you can somehow get a nat 20.
I rolled a 6. So that's, that's that.
That's tough.
So
Musa D,
he
you,
just kind of puts his hand out.
yeah, you can see Percival grabs onto the back of like the armor of Musa D and like is heels digging in the dirt trying to like stop him, but Musa D is just marching with Percival to his back. Musa D, if you do this, it will be a treachery at the highest order. You cannot just sort of like wailing at Musa D's back. Eventually, Zorvrax just puts the heft of his palm and his clawed hand on Musa D's chest and separates him from the box.
Musa D.
throws his hands up.
No hard feelings, my friend, but we made a commitment. We agreed we would protect this box, and opening it is exactly what they want to do as well.
Musa D nods. Blue, if this kills people, it was on
I
you.
will take that responsibility. Trust
Now leave
me.
it alone.
And I say that very earnestly. Zorvrax doesn't seldom get serious. I mean this, Musa D.
Then just
I know
stop.
what I do. I understand your fervor, and I respect it. But we must honor this contract.
Pretty words, Blue.
Mhm.
I just saunter back to the car.
Give yourself both a point of inspiration for both trying to crack open the casing and defending against the casing. All right. I'm wondering. All right. I'll describe this next scene and then we'll cut it. So because that's a good scene, but I do want to leave on a different note.
Yeah.
So as the party gathers all of their things, Percival wrestles the box back into the back of the caravan, shooting Musa D a none so icy glare as they finally put everything back into place. Gets on top of the caravan and wheels forward through Riverholm. You spend a couple of hours' time, probably heading into dark night, by the time you find your way to Perel Channel proper. And you follow it accordingly as Percy had instructed until you see what appears to be a flag which has been nailed into a low-hanging tree trunk, sort of stretching along the side of the river. And this flag bears what appears to be, if I'm reading my notes correctly, a heraldic symbol of a griffin, which is clutching two cross spears against the backing of a great shield. And to this, Percy's eyes alight. A mark of the Valiants! We've arrived! Quickly, we must not keep them waiting any longer, as, they wheel forward excitedly, sort of cracking the reins. Silver, forward! We must meet with Uncle Theo. They will have so much to say. And as, you sort of wheel around past all of the flags, you are then met with what appears to be a very sorry encampment. There is a series of tents and makeshift barracks which have been situated against the riverside, although many of them are empty and the fires are low. There is a feeling of heft in the air from the few that you do see wandering to and fro, almost like a confusion or a malaise. You can see that there are the flags being pinned into the trees all around, noting that this is in fact the Valiants camp. But the picture that you have been painted, these heroic figures which can withstand any great foe, they definitely seem a bit amiss, and they like a sense of purpose has definitely left them in this moment. There are what you see 3 sort of makeshift boats which line the river of the channel, Parnell Channel proper. They're more so like giant sailing platforms, almost like giant wood constructions with sails, presumably so they can load a great deal of goods and wares on the Blue Road to Danareth without much issue. But aside from that, they are still anchored, and they have not been loaded. Most notably, they have not been equipped for their waterbound voyage. And as Percy's eyes sort of, he's scanning the crowd, trying to find his uncle. He can see everyone in their fine armor with the heraldry emblazoned upon it. He's seeing these figures, these mythic figures before him, but the lack of gumption behind them is definitely sort of shaking him a bit. As he sort of says, "Well, I'm sure Theo's here somewhere. Just a moment." As he sort of hops off and he sort of strides towards the center of camp, and you can see some soldiers mobilize forward quickly, swords at the ready, not sure who these new trespassers are onto the scene, but they quickly see Percy, they recognize his face, they recognize the heraldry on his armor, and they stand down. And there are a few murmured whispers until they sort of point towards a much larger tent, which is situated center right in front of the communal fire. And then a few more words are traded, and breaking from that silence is one figure who strides outward. This man, broad and chiseled, he has the same bone structure as one Percival, although in all of the ways that Percival is somewhat jelly-spined and weak-willed, you can see that this man is made of iron, and that his heart, for better or worse, is probably cast in some form of stone. His salt and pepper gray hair is pushed tightly back until it sort of frays out in small puffs and curls at the back, maybe from a natural coarseness, but also likely from the constant water that circulates in the air around Riverholm, with a forked gray beard, which hangs in 2 stripes, which in the center has a white patch which runs clear down it, and a pair of steely gray eyes, which once they find Percy, and you can see the armor too, is the same make and model of Percy's, but whereas Percy's is shiny and unfit, this person's armor is worn with both love and pain in every way, shape, and form. There are nicks and scars across the sheets of metal. There is rust accumulating on its edges. This is a person who has done nearly every walk of life in that suit. And as his steely-eyed gaze falls on Percy, there is not a twist in the lip, not a hint of a smile, just sort of like a stoic gaze, and you can hear from your distance, "Finally Percy arrives, and perhaps far too late." And with that,
Dun dun dun.
Nice.
we will
Very nice.
cut the stream for tonight. So yes, you have traveled across Sunsteppe. You have sweet-talked your way through banditry and been blessed by the traveler god. But You have made some dalliances along the way, and perhaps that has now come to bear its ugly head. Big Z Killer says, cliffhanger, what is this? Good storytelling is what I say it is. Narrative implications is what I say it is. So yes, but you have found your way to Riverholm. You found yourself to Parnell Channel. You have found the Valiants camp, but there definitely seems to be something wrong happening amongst the soldiers, and Theor is none too pleased with your arrival. Anything to say here?
It wouldn't be. You wouldn't be our DM if we didn't piss off some NPCs.
Yeah.
If
Specifically our employees.
if I would
Throwing
be
the
your
cock in
DM if
wheels
you
hard.
didn't piss off some NPCs. So if I didn't give you repercussions for your actions, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Thank you so much for everyone who joined the stream tonight. We had, I think, we had double-digit viewers at one point, and we had a subscriber.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. I'll double check the what do you call it? The feed? The Grim Fandango. The feed to see if any other updates need to be announced because of the stream. But thank you so much. And we had people giving inspiration, which is exactly what we're meant to do. It's beautiful. We love to see it. The stream is back, baby, and we're happy to be back, and we're happy that you've joined us. Please follow us on everything here if you already aren't, and then also on Twitter and Instagram, where we'll post most of the updates for new episodes that come out, and then also on the Discord, which holds all the lore, holds all the stories of this world now and future, and will eventually be... Vorpal, you redeemed a stretch? Okay, everyone stretch since Garrett did it.
We earned this.
You did earn it, as I talk to the audience. Join the Discord. It'll eventually be a play-by-post space where you can play in the world of Mira alongside everybody. It'll be fun. And we just thank you for being here. It means so much that we have just friends to join us on our journey. With that being said, do any of the party members have anything to say to our lovely friends before we close for the eve?
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Mwah, mwah.
Thanks, friends.
I love you.
Mwah. Keep your eyes peeled on our channel for any campaign videos coming up or solo videos coming up from yours truly. And we will see you when the next time the adventure rides. Can't wait for the next session.
Have a good night, y'all.
My job of giving inspiration.
Good night.
Good night.
Goodbye.